Yo guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink. Today's topic is melodic rock, lead guitar concept. We're going to talk about storytelling. I'll show you what I mean. We have here a medium rock track and we're going to play some melodic rock lead guitar to it. We want to do some storytelling. And so on. What I just played seems to be something quite simple, but I want to explain you the concept behind it, which will bring your playing and your emotional expression abilities to a next level. It's about storytelling and putting in emotions into your tones. How do you do that? Where's the tone here? Okay. The first thing you need to understand, learn to live in the tone. A teacher of mine, when I was studying at university, was always talking about that and was always highlighting this. You have to learn to live in the tone. Back in these days, I thought this guy was crazy, but later I found out he was not crazy at all. He was quite, in fact, quite knowledgeable. And what does live in the tone mean? Just try to figure out different tones and just let them ring and listen to them. Listen how the overtones develop. By attacking the strings with your pick, the way you attack it, how the tone develops. Work on your playing technique to form the tone exactly the way you want. And also, what is a really good tip, let me quickly do that. I learned that. Switch off all effects. Still have a reverb on it. I'm going to switch that one off as well. Just give me a second. And try to make music with absolutely no effects. So now we have a complete dry signal. And this is the worst possible setting. Try to still get the tone the way you want. And then switch on the reverb. Because what you need to understand, the reverb is a multiplicator of what you're doing on the fretboard. And if you're not doing something proper without the reverb just multiplies the, let's say, the medium or the bad tone you created. So if you have a nice tone, put on a multiplicator of a reverb, or even put on, where do we have a delay here? Here. Is also a multiplicator. But the core comes from switching off all effects, live in the tone, just react to the tone. Good, the next thing is going to happen here on the fretboard. Good, now let's figure out what we can do additionally beside having a really nice tone. Now we need to know which tones we want to play. So when we take this track as an example, which is in E minor, we are having the E minor scale. Probably not in different positions. You probably also know E minor pentatonic licks, some quite standard pentatonic licks here in the root position, but let's do one up. We do something like this, okay? Now, we want to learn to connect each note with an emotion or a picture or a color, whatever, with an expression. So, which are the most important notes in the scale? The most beginners start with the root note, the E here, and they start something like this, or and then ended up the root. But they never thought about what does the root note create kind of an emotion when you compared to here we have the G, or here the B. So these are the chord notes. We have the root, we have the triad, we have the fifth. So these are the three main notes we want to target. But how do they sound? The root note, let's figure out. Let me take another sound here, maybe this one here. Let's figure out. That was the root note. I played it here and then in the octave. It sounded like the disclosure or the end of a phrase, or a steady emotion, you know, just whoosh, we came home, you know. That's what the root note defines for me personally. So, if you play the root note, either you start from home or you go home. So you play something, start from, go home. So you start with this. That's what I did now. Did you notice the effect? It was starting from home, going home. Now, what effect does the triad, the G, create? The triad defines the E minor chord. So the G here would be, it has a defining effect, a defining emotion. So this is like starting from home, making a defined statement, going back home. You know, this stuff looks quite simple to do, but in fact, if you start working with tones like this, when you start living the tone, then suddenly a little phrase where you think it's quite easy to play gets another meaning, and that's what I want to teach you guys today. Or you can also take the fifth. What does the B? The B takes us to a next dimension. I'm going to show you with a track. Let's take another sound. Root. It's coming home. Now let's do the triad. Defining. Going home. Now we go to the next dimension. See how this works? And it's another way of seeing notes, another way of improvisation. You start to connect notes with an emotion, with pictures, with I do colors. You don't see now; it's dark blue. And then you start using the tones and live in the tone, create that picture, and then you start to improvise and in a complete different way. And then you add multiplier effects. Let's take a maximum one. This one has a lot of multiplier effects. As you can hear, it has a lot of multiplier effects. So if you're not quite sure what you're doing here, it will create chaos. But we don't want a chaos, we want harmony, we want pure emotion. Let's do this now. We open with definition, go home. Now we go to the next dimension. See, now I open dimension, then I went home. Then you can add more multiplier effects as a wah to get more intensity in it. Then you do the same thing again, and then suddenly the stuff starts to, have an expression, a personal voice. And what is also really important, which a lot of players forget, interact with the music. You hear a lot of people just noodle like crazy over tracks, but I prefer to interact with the music, listen to the music. Now listen to the bass and the other guitars. The notes I was playing were really simple, but I really concentrated on the root note, on the triad, on the fifth. So the root is coming home, the triad is definition, and the fifth is going to the next dimension. As an example for a picture or an emotion. Now you want to take the intermediate notes. This one here. This one is undefined but melancholic. It's undefined but melancholic, or we also have this one here. This one is even more melancholic than this one. We have slight melancholia and deeper melancholia. Now we want to put this into the whole picture, add multipliers, and see what happens. I'm going to take again the maximum multipliers that you can see the maximum effect out of this. Now we're going to open up. Yo. Now, once you build up all these emotional pictures and these emotional things, then you can add a phrase as I just did. Oh, I switched off the sound again. I just use a regular pentatonic phrase, or in this case, I just use a regular blues phrase. So you build up a picture, build up a dramatic emotion, build up the tension, and then you release the tension by going home. Let's do that again and see how this works. I mean, somebody could argue, okay, I can just write down, why is this guy blabbering so much? Just write down the tabs of the licks, I played, end of the story. But that's not what we want here. It's that you start to work like this in order to get the maximum personal emotional expression out of your playing. So let's do this now again with maximum multiplier. See how this works. and so on. I just played a little bit more, but just by still using the concept, I went up in the high position. In the high position of the triad here. Went down to the fifth and then released. I just made a kind of a lick down here to the root note, and that's it. You guys, that was the emotional rock lead guitar concept, or rock ballad lead guitar concept. Live in the tone, express emotions, dive into each note and try to figure out what does it mean for you. I just gave you suggestions. You don't have to take mine, take your own, but then start working like this. Every note has to be controlled. Every note has a meaning for you. You don't have to take my meaning, but just as a different concept than just playing tabs or whatever. I mean, it's cool if you can play licks or stuff. Sometimes it's cool to play licks, but when it comes to, let's put it this way, if you know like 100 licks, you will always sound the same because you play 100 licks. If you don't know, or if you just know 3 licks, but started to work with notes and with emotions, you will always find the perfect personal answer to a certain situation where you can play rock lead guitar, and it will be always something original out of the moment. If you're aiming for that type of expression, of course. If it's not for you, of course you don't need to do that. Anyhow, I just wanted to introduce you guys to a concept which is the center of my playing since, I don't know, always. And just to give you something to think about, maybe you like it, and maybe you want to try it out. Of course, I cannot do tabs for this, but you can download this backing track here if you want to practice with this one. It's available in the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. Please join there. Please become a premium member, and if you love what me and Dr. Pink are doing for the guitar community, please become a premium member anyway in order to support the work which me and Dr. Pink are doing for the guitar community. And this helps to explore this world even more. Yo. And if you love the channel, please subscribe and please share to the world that me and Dr. Pink are existing, and please come back for more. And if you love this concept, please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about it. It's probably something you never thought about before. And I remember back when I was in university and listened to my teacher, I thought, oh, this guy smoked some serious stuff. But later I found out, in fact, no, he was completely right. So that's why I understand if you think this approach is too crazy for you. But maybe it gives you a thought and gives you some new ideas how to work with the guitar. Yo, see you guys.